Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Rafael Duke Page Guy channel. It is I, Rafael Duke, back here once again doing a quick video as more and more updates end up coming out for Wrestlemania amid the coronavirus pandemic that is sweeping the world right now. It's a global pandemic, if you will. And one of the things biggest affected by it is wrestling, especially WWE. Now, the news broke earlier on Monday, or now Wednesday, and I mentioned it on my Raw review that WrestleMania will be moved to the Performance Center. Now, there's a few things that have broken up since then. First things first, there are two rumors that came out. One, the Hall of Fame will be canceled, and so was NXT TakeOver. As for NXT, it will supposedly either be done at an empty PC, or it will be done in basically just as normal NXT. They'll hype the matches up to making them happen on the regular NXT probably the week of WrestleMania. As for the Hall of Fame, two rumors were announced. Well, for the NXT thing, sure. I think that's the best idea to do, where for it, just have it happen on a regular NXT, which is probably going to be the case considering the WrestleMania news, which I'll mention after this Hall of Fame thing. The Hall of Fame ceremony, two things broke out. First, TVA Sport journalist Pat LaPrade mentioned that the Hall of Fame ceremonies could be just canceled, and the speeches would be featured on both Raw and SmackDown the week of Mania, either on Friday and on Monday. Which I would understand. Basically, would just mean the Hall of Fame still be done via satellites. So, you'd have the NWO, Batista, the British Bulldog, Jushin Thunder Liger, and the Bella Twins, basically doing their speeches via satellite, and they'll be showing it on Raw instead of just replaying a fucking Royal Rumble match instead, or whatever they plan on doing, which I would understand. The other option, which I would prefer, is that they were talking about moving the ceremony to SummerSlam weekend in Boston, which basically means they would either have to do it on Thursday or Friday, depending. For Friday wouldn't work, because Friday you'd have SmackDown in Boston, Saturday's NXT TakeOver Boston, so you'd have to do it on Thursday. Either that or they hold a private ceremony on SummerSlam weekend and open it up to the fans, which I wouldn't mind. Sometimes the fans can be a little bit annoying when it comes to Hall of Fame ceremonies. And now the other news that just came out, breaking news, WrestleMania 36 will be a two-night event starting on Saturday, April 4th, and continuing and concluding on Sunday, April 5th. Another thing in the news that the event will be hosted by Rob Gronkowski, the former Super Bowl champion tight end for the New England Patriots. First things first, Gronk. I'm okay with him being involved with wrestling. If it's a pet project you want to do, sure. Have him come in. I'm sure he'll do good for himself. And, if he doesn't just start doing matches and winning the, Universal title in his first week, it's whatever. And him having a hosting gimmick's okay. And, he's somewhat popular with Americans. Canadians maybe not as much, but a few Americans like him, especially people from the New England area, considering he played for the Patriots. But it's cool. And as for WrestleMania being a two-night event, I know there were talks about doing it for a while, especially considering that usually when WrestleMania takes place as normal, usually it's like a 6-7 hour event to watch in the whole Sunday. But with the circumstances that is currently taking place in the world with this virus and a lot of arenas canceling events, and now WWE sort of being forced to do their events live from the Performance Center, it's kind of in a situation where you need to adapt. And WWE, seeing that, watching a 7-hour show of WrestleMania in an empty arena with, for example, if Shayna Baszler wins, is going to be like, it's still gonna fuck with your morale to watch the fucking thing. While having on two nights is actually better. Then again, it seems like they're following that, so I don't know if that kills the rumor, because there was a new rumor that came out that Simon Michael covered on his channel, saying WWE might be looking to move WrestleMania to June at the Garden, Madison Square Garden in NYC. Which I don't know if this announcement basically just shoots that down, basically proving that WWE is committed to having it in April, absolutely. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens with this. I know a lot of people are saying that WrestleMania is not gonna take place because of, I believe the president, the CDC. I think it's the Center for Disease Control or whatever, the control for whatever the fuck it's called. Supposedly recommended that you do not host more than do events with more than 10 people. So it's interesting to see if supposedly the rumor saying that WWE is sort of forecasting that Orlando will probably shut down the PC and say you ain't having WrestleMania. So that's why the Madison Square Garden plan would happen. So I know a lot of people feel like this year's WrestleMania is going to be terrible because it's not going to be a spectacle and all that. But it's what we are stuck with today. We have to adapt. We have to move on. The show must go on. You can't just stop the world and stop, everything. Because if you do, plans get fucked up. You lose money and shit like this. So, I understand it, and I'm someone that's willing to adapt to the situation. I know a lot of people want more to have still to be more typical to what it usually is, but I think just getting WrestleMania out of the way, sure, and then to sort of repay the fan base, make sure your next year's WrestleMania in Los Angeles is stacked to the fucking lid. And having it 2 nights is not a bad idea. I don't think this will be something that will become regular. I think it will be something that's only done for this year's. I know Wrestle Kingdom does that a lot where they have like 2 shows, but the thing is that I think they have 2 nights, and then like a week later they have another show in Japan. So it's gonna be interesting to see how it is done and what matches get split up. I got a feeling they'll put on one night Goldberg and Roman, the other night they'll put Brock and Drew. One night they'll put Becky and Shayna. The other night they'll put whatever the SmackDown Women's title match is going to be. They'll put Taker and AJ on one night. The other night they'll put Edge and Orton. So it makes you sort of want to watch both nights. Spread out your product and your good stuff. So leave me your thoughts down below. What do you think about this? What do you think about the situation? Mania now 2 nights. Mania at the PC. Like I said, I understand not a lot of people not being okay with it. I wish there was another way to do it. I wish there was that we would find another way. But if it's what they find and if it's what they got, you gotta roll with the punches, ladies and gentlemen. I just hope everything goes back to normal quickly. So thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like. Make sure to subscribe to Raffle Dude Page Guy channel. Take care of yourselves, ladies and gentlemen, and have yourselves a very good night.